Hello and welcome to another fabulous edition. Oh, what's that? Another fabulous edition of Get Out and Grow among the happy homesteaders of Portugal. There's all sorts going on. This is a full moon show. I think we've got a bit of feedback coming through from these speakers there. I don't know what that is, but it will settle down. Do not worry. Oh, haha, I guess he knows he's not muted. Was that coming through there? Because I was really thinking. Oh, dear. Okay, apologies. Let's move on. Hello, todos. Louise is here. Stephen's here. Yes, I'm pointing out the fact that I had a rather unguarded moment of scatting along. Good evening, Stephen, from Louise as well. And Mark is here too. Good evening from Norfolk. It's the quiz of the week. Oh no, is that right? Was that the right county? I don't know. Anyway, your gardening Q&A. We're here to help you. Head gardener Lee McGrady in Lisbon. I think just in from work, right? Am I right?
No, I've been sat by the pool for an half cut. I'm being honest, I'm a little bit tipsy.
Are you?
Yeah, I'm just in from work, Cap. Just in from work. Yeah,
just in from work, and he's just a little bit confused from sunstroke. Let's go with that, shall we? Okay, and John and Anna in Devon. How's Devon tonight for you, Anna? We'll come to you in a moment, John.
Yeah, it's not looking too bad. It's I can't quite see what the temperature is at the minute. The screen's gone black, but yeah, it's been sort of bright and cloudy. It's saying about 20 degrees here, but I've been in all day, so yeah, cloudy but dry at the minute.
Okay.
And bit of rain on and off, but not too bad.
And still having the old, I was going to say kingfisher, that's not right, the woodpecker visiting the
yeah, I had a couple of sightings. In fact, I think at the weekend, I think it actually came both days in a row, I think. So I managed to, I think there was one time I was caught off guard without the camera, but I've been just sort of catching it when I can. It really likes the chopped peanuts, it seems to like in particular. So I've been and in fact I even caught it having a drink as well, which was an added bonus. So been busy with the wildlife.
Do you think cider might be the favoured drink of woodpecker? But it's probably water in your garden. Mr. Agate, how is your part of Devon this weekend, this past week and tonight?
Yeah, it's all right. I mean, I only live probably, I think, not that far from Anna. I'm not sure because you live like right by Sainsbury's in Newton Abbot, and we go past that a bit in the car, so we only live about a mile and a bit from each other. But yeah, it's nice. It's all right. Yeah, a bit cloudy, but not so bad. Yeah.
And you've had a good enough week, have you, John?
Yeah, it's been all right.
Oh, okay. Well, tomatoes are on the agenda, aren't they, this week for sure? We have got a few questions.
Yeah, my mum's questions about tomatoes, actually.
Very good. A small child has run into the studio. I've got a swiflot. I'm not. Did I just say a fly swat? That is right, isn't it? Yeah, it's a green one, which doesn't really help with the green screen. How about that? That's a squeaky effect, isn't it? Child's gone now. Anyway, I would honestly, before this gets. Oh, he's got match. I don't know, a pair there, like Bruce Lee, maybe. So once he gets windmilling into a swarm of
three on my feet, I can got three.
There is not a problem with flies. No flies on leaf. No flies on leaf. Yes, it's right now. It is difficult. So maybe that's a homesteading tip. How do you get rid of flies? That could be good to know. Fiona and Simon also here. Hello, guys. Hello, everyone. Beautiful blue sky today from Derbyshire, beautiful Derbyshire. So Devon, Derbyshire, and Norfolk and Portugal in the house this afternoon. And I think this is fairly near to Tamar. Let me bring you some pictures from a mother-in-law's homestead. This is from dear Antonio, who is a correspondent on the morning show. And he said, can I send you some pictures? We were talking about the great growing traditions of the older folks in Portugal. And he said, can I send you some pictures of my mother-in-law's homestead? Absolutely, from her quinta. Only 6 pictures, but it kind of sums up Quinta life in Portugal. And I'm really delighted to share these. Also, your fabulous picture as well, Louise, of the passiflora from earlier on. And of course, if you want to send in pictures, the way to do that, or messages, we could take telephone. Say again?
Or videos.
Or videos even. Absolutely. Send them in on WhatsApp, 913-590-303. But it'd be great to have some of those telephone ones, wouldn't it?
Hello, yes,
Yeah.
I'm ringing in from Maidstone in Kent, and I have a problem with rose pruning. Could you help me, please?
That sort of thing would be great. 913-590-303 tonight. So let's have a look at these rather splendid homesteading pictures from central Portugal. There's a nice bean collection there. So the mother-in-law obviously saving some beans for seed, and there they are. Fantastic. I'm going to have to shut the door here. Excuse me a minute. Wait a minute. Chat among yourselves.
So yes, some good beans here.
I could have slammed that.
It would, yes, and Carl's back. So, but yeah, there's some nice beans here.
I was nearly has
Various
been.
different types, actually. I think I recognize. I'm not sure. I recognize some of them. I think there's, yeah. But
Some of those, John, when boiled up in their non-dry state or rehydrated, wouldn't be out of place in a homemade baked beans. Some
yeah,
of the Heinz shaped ones there. So
Yeah,
moving on
definitely.
from the beans, a really like a vigorous tomato bush there, and we'll come back to a few more. And this is how it often goes in a Portuguese rustic garden. Okay, this is grown for bulk, I think, rather than necessarily for show. But it looks like a great crop. And look at them. There are some long stringy beans there. That is the definition, the visual definition of string beans, isn't it? Have they overgrown, Lee, or is that normal?
No, that's normal for some varieties. Yeah, that's perfect normal in Portugal. In England, I'd be worried. In Portugal, it seems normal. Yeah, a different variety.
Yeah, in England, he'd be worried.
These are the same beans. These are the same beans that my mother-in-law puts in her cachupa, which is a very used Cape Verdean dish. Yeah, the same beans that she uses in there.
Cape Verdean recipe, fantastic. But it's a gardening show, not a cookery show, as Lee often says.
We're not a cooking show. We're not a cooking show.
Not a cooking show, but look at those. They look very
nice.
Yeah. And then the traditional calda verde, the cabbage tree, really, that grows, the bush that grows in many a Portuguese garden. What do you think of that, Lee? Are you shaking your head because of the cabbage there?
No, because I always, when I first came, it disturbed me because I didn't understand it. But there are in every garden, and it's the way they produce cabbage. It just produces and produces and produces. And I don't know why we don't do it in England. And then you think back that we have the winters we have in England, and the plant just wouldn't survive.
Oh,
so
okay.
I mean, it's unobtainable in England, but in every garden in Portugal. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And you might see this on the perimeter as well, mightn't you? It's almost like a torch or lantern on the edge of the property saying, we grow cabbage here. And look at those. Yeah. That's a tomato too big to hold in one hand at the front there. Pretty much the same with the second one. That's a beef tomato, isn't it?
They're lovely, aren't they?
I really like those.
Oh, it's beautiful.
When they get sweet that size as well, I mean, that's good enough to eat on its own, like fruit, isn't it? Or with a sprinkling of salt, bit of olive oil, and some balsamic vinegar on there, or just white vinegar. Absolutely delicious. Bit of black pepper on there. It's a gardening show, not a cookery show. And this is like a 2-footer marrow, isn't it? Or I think. Or are we looking at a marrow? Yeah, we're looking at a marrow or a very big courgette.
I'm on a very small screen, but I know most courgettes are finished by now, so I think that's a marrow, is it?
There you go, big marrow. Ooh, that's a real Mrs. Marrow for you there. So fantastic, Antonio. Thank you for those pictures from your mother-in-law's quinta. That's how things are grown traditionally here in Portugal. And long may it continue. And lots may we learn from the mothers-in-law of Portugal there. So can we go to you, Anna, for a first question, possibly?
Yep. I think we've got the only ones I've managed to find are from the group so far. We have got one. I couldn't remember if we covered this one or not. We've got one on bracken fern for the central Portugal area. Basically, how to remove it. and apparently this one is lots of it on the bottom 2 fields, and anyone had any success removing it heard it's really difficult, and that one is for Sarah, I think, in the group.
Okay.
I don't think there was a picture.
I think this is a new one. We had a similar question maybe 3 or 4 months ago concerning bracken. What the bracken we had last time was in England. This is now in Portugal, I imagine. Is it? It's from the group. So it's going to be the same answer. Bracken is really hard to get rid of. Chemical don't really touch it. The only real way to do it is to burn it at the right time of year, then to dig out the stumps, and then progressively mow it and trim it, depending on the ground, for the next 6 months, just to try and kill off the new shoots. But bracken's it's very difficult, but it makes great compost if you get it at the right time of year. But as a warning from that, at the wrong time of year, it's actually carcinogenic. So
yes, that's what they say, isn't it? Yeah.
When the bracken leaf reaches its full maturity, it gets little like little warts, kind of a wart, a blister underneath it, and that's where the seeds come out, and they're the bits that are carcinogenic. So you really need to be on top of it early in the year, and keep on top of it. Don't allow it to get to a mature level where it's going to seed. So just hard work, grafting, no real chemical treatment for it, because they're just so hardy that they kind of fight off the chemical, and you would end up killing the ground more than the actual plant. So unfortunately, it's burn it and then dig it, and then repeatedly mow and motivate the ground if possible. It's a bugger.
But you quite like recommending digging things out, don't you? Because you love that sense of achievement.
There is sometimes, Cal, when there's no other option.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there's a chemical option, I would recommend that. But with bracken, there isn't, because it's so hardy. You can't nuke it. You can't poison it, because you end up putting so much chemical on, you destroy the ground underneath.
Yes.
It's got to be that way, unfortunately. Burn it, dig it, and then mow it, or motivate it, just so you kill it. It's the only way.
For the bracken fern, it's very beautiful as well in the right place, isn't it? If you're happy to have a bit of a in the right garden, on the right embankment, it's beautiful. I remember as a child having some on the hills behind us at home, and it was a joy to run through it, and playing it. And in the right garden, it looks amazing, but it is very basic. Yeah. All right. Great. Okay. There you go. Bracken fern inquiry dealt with there. And Peter Stewart is with us as well. Lovely evening here in Belfast. Good evening, Peter. Great to have your company. Andrew Fribbins, also known as Lumpy Custard. I haven't heard from you for ages, mate. And I think Anna might remember Lumpy Custard from maybe tuning in at Access All Areas from time to time. If the human race gets wiped out by global warming, I predict nobody will complain about it. Hey, looking on the bright side of an apocalyptic disaster there. Fantastic, Andrew. Well done. Is that because you got held up in the traffic by extinction? Yes, always look on the bright side.
Always look on the bright side of life.
That's Thank you very much. He's here all week. So, Andrew, have you been held up by Extinction Rebellion, who caused a bit of a standstill in London, I think, earlier on today? Getting rid of flies, this just in. Many old Portuguese houses have clear plastic bags filled with water in it, hanging outside their doors, sometimes with coins in, right? Does that work, though? Does it work, Lee, do you think? Bags of, they look like sort of sample bags that you might be taking down the doctor.
No, as a Portuguese traditional method, it's the plastic bottles that are hung from trees with bacalhau juice. So you take a bottle, you pierce several holes in the top, big enough for the midges and the flies to get into. You put the bacalhau juice, you hang it from your tree. That works really well.
Does it? Well, because they just love it and they just gravitate towards it and then end up in the bottle.
Yeah. Bacalhau, it's just salted fish, but the water from the cooking or from getting rid of the salt, because you have to change the water several times to make it edible. They put that into bottles and they hang the bottles from the tree, lemon trees, orange trees, it works perfect. I think it works really well.
Yeah.
And the flies
okay.
completely fine at the bottom.
All right. So even if you don't like the recipe you've made with your bacalhau, you can use your bacalhau water to get rid of flies outside. There you go. And every expat coming to Portugal should try a bacalhau recipe at least once. Lots of tomatoes here, still small and green. No wondering if you can pick them green and ripen on a windowsill. How about that, Lee? Can you pick them early and let them ripen in the sun?
Well, I asked the same question a few weeks ago. I had a couple that were still green, but the plant was dying. I asked for recipes for it, and I had one sent through personal messenger. It wasn't through the group; it came through personal messenger for making a chutney.
Oh yeah.
So I've used it, and there are quite a few chutney recipes for green tomatoes. Yeah.
Okay.
Cooking show. I don't know why we're talking about this.
Yeah, I know. It's inevitable, though, is it? The you know, the relationship between gardening and cooking is so close.
I'm pleased to say green chutney is absolutely gorgeous. Yeah, the tomato chutney was really.
All right. So basically, then, if you could try that, and if they don't ripen up, you put them into Lee's recipe there, which you may share with us one day. The Gallagher Lisa.
I think it depends how far the tomato has gone into its maturing stage.
Yeah.
The ones I had were really green. They were very pale green, but I know the darker green will mature on the windowsill in full sun. So anything really dark, you're okay with. Anything really pea green, chutney. Yeah.
Yes, and the nice thing about eating warm fruit and veg is there for you if you do that right. You know, when you get a slightly warmed strawberry or a warm tomato, it's so much nicer than eating it cold from the fridge. Go on, John.
On the subject of tomatoes, my mum has a question about tomato blight, which is that if one of your tomato plants has blight, is it best to pickle the tomatoes quickly and hope they ripen off the plant, or?
Unfortunately, John, I think once you've got it, you've got it.
Okay.
Might develop on one plant sooner than the others. And I have personally always removed the plant immediately and occasionally got away with it. But there is a treatment for it. And it's a very simple treatment. Washing up liquid.
Pardon?
So it's a small squirt of washing up liquid into a bottle of water.
Yeah.
And then using a sprayer to spray all the plant with.
Okay.
And it just pulls them through long enough for the tomatoes to develop on the plant. The plant never looks as healthy as it should do, but it will pull through. Long enough to produce the tomato. Yeah. So remove the one with the bad blight. If it's got bad blight, remove it. All the rest of them, treat them immediately with washing up liquid and soapy water.
Okay.
There you go. Get rid of the bad bit. Yeah, get rid of the bad bit and give the rest a nice wash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good. Okay, we've got more fly treatments. Go on, Lee. Sorry.
And let us know how to get us on with it.
Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
Will do.
We always like to know what happens with the advice that's given here. Not unlike with that meme with Kermit sat in the window. I wonder what happened to the people I gave directions to. You know, it's the same here. We want to know. You can report back a week or two after or later on in the season. That's fantastic. So, I think
he's going to tell her now. He's raced off. He's going to tell her now how to.
Yes, news just in. The Gallagher Lisa tall cabbage grows really well in the southwest in the UK. My father grows them, says Louise. So those tall cabbages will grow in the milder parts of the UK. And she also
adds. I was going to ask a question then.
Go on, Anna.
Just thinking about tall cabbages, I was just going to say, how can you tell if it's bolted? Because I think usually cabbages I've seen usually bolt upright like a tree, and I just thought, is it a bit hard to tell with those? I hadn't actually heard of those type of cabbages, I have to say, but
to say it's the same sort of plant, Anna, but in Portugal they let them bolt, and then they harvest on a regular yearly basis. But in England we don't let them bolt because once the frost hits them, it kills the plant. So it's the same plant, but you just allow it to bolt after you've harvested the first crop. Then you just leave it and let it bolt. So it's the same plant. It's the same vegetable. We just in England we don't let them bolt. We just, because it don't normally last the winter.
Okay, so did you deliver that news about the tomato plants there, John, before you forgot?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it's, so
Good man.
put the plants in some washing up liquid and soapy water, and it should hopefully stop the blight from spreading. Yeah.
You cannot get quicker at gardening advice than that, can you? I
No,
think from
indeed, it's
sharing the question to get the answer was all done within about 2 minutes there. This is how we roll on the gardening Q&A. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Good service. Cheers, John. Louise, who has sent more pickies, which we'll show later, says she's planted her courgette seeds back in mid-June, so only just started cropping them now. What sort of size have they grown to, though, Louise? You can send some pics of them as well, or are they getting marrowish by now? Vinegar and water with a few drops of...
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see our courgettes get on, because I follow the Portuguese method of doing them really early and then giving up when the heat comes on. Because I've seen a big leaf, the heat just kind of dries them up so quickly.
Oh, yes.
I know in my region, or here in the Lisbon area, everybody I spoke to suggested doing them really early in the spring and getting them out as soon as possible, harvesting them as quick as possible, and then letting them die back with the heat. So it'll be interesting to see how Louise gets.
Yeah, brilliant. She may well send us a picture of that. Tom S is here. Botar from Ohio. Nice one. A nice Portuguese greeting there. Cheers, Tom S. And Fiona and Simon saying vinegar with water, or vinegar and water with a few drops of essential oil in a spray bottle. Good one for flies. And it's almost like giving them aromatherapy, though, doing that, isn't it, Fiona or Simon or both?
Sounds a bit too nice for the flies, that.
It does really. Or hairspray. So can you imagine if you're a blue bottle and you're just enjoying yourself, flying around the room, landing on people's foreheads, going in their ears, up their nostrils, and then the person in the house goes to the dark side and reaches for the L-net and sprays the blue bottle with hairspray, and the blue bottle is just diving in, and then its wings get stuck and it nosedives to the floor with the hairspray.
This isn't recommended. It's not recommended for people to do, but you get a hairspray and a cigarette lighter, you make a great flamethrower.
Please do not try that at home, anybody, okay? Even
really well.
Yeah, that's the sort of thing I'm sure Lee did when he was a gardening apprentice, or had that done to him when he was a gardening apprentice, possibly. So nobody must try that at home, okay? We just do not want to be responsible for that. Any complaints, please direct them to Mr. McGrady, Lisbon, Portugal. That should get to it. Great advice. Look, that is not connected what he just said. This is earlier advice, I think, not the thing about the flamethrower. Okay. Katie Hearn. Anna, did you want to do us a little bit of a roundup about what we do on a Monday evening for Casey?
Yeah, if anyone is you're welcome, I should say, as well. And we're taking any gardening questions wherever you are. We're happy to ask any questions and find the answers for you. And we do this every Monday on StreamYard, usually between 6 and 7 UK and Portugal time. But you can see it on demand as well. And you can get in touch with us on StreamYard as well. It sort of works with Facebook, and we're also on Facebook as a group as well. Get Growing Group.
Fantastic, lovely job. I'll find the link to that, or maybe John might do that for us. The Happy Homesteaders Facebook group. Cut and paste that in there, and then you know where we are, Casey. If you want to ask any questions during the week, tell us about your garden.
What's that you want me to do?
The link to the Happy Homesteaders Facebook group would be awesome, John, if you could manage that.
It's
and pop it in the comments for us.
Oh, I see.
Proper job. Cheers there, John. Tall cabbage don't really bolt, but flower after a year. You will see plastic bags over them to collect the seeds, because that's an even funnier sight in Portugal, isn't it? You see these really tall cabbages, and then at certain times of the year, they've got a plastic bag over the top. Maybe that stops flies as well. We should do what the birds and bees do so well, naturally. Yes, well, our parents may have told us about that, but maybe that's not what you're talking about.
Yeah.
to help the human race prosper. Yeah, okay. Paul, Louise, Lottie, Louise mainly. The courgettes are currently 6 inches long. Okay, so they're not grown to a big old marrow size, and that's what you get if you plant in mid-June.
They're not near long, so
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah.
Sabina SS, hi guys. How do you get rid of mosquitoes and black flies? So we've had a bit of a chat about flies. Mosquitoes, have we talked about mosquitoes on the show before? I think we have briefly, haven't we?
We did do very early on. I posted a link to not a link, a picture of different plants that repel, or are meant to repel mosquitoes, lavenders and stuff. I can repost it again. I've got it saved somewhere on the phone.
Yeah,
there are certain plants, but they're just overly important. It's pandemic proportions, isn't it, this time of year? So sometimes it might be best to live with the bloody things.
That's right. Or not go out at night, or make your bedroom a hermetically sealed environment overnight. You are food for mosquitoes, certainly for a few months, and that's probably quite a good way of looking at it, rather than getting too stressed about it. At night time, though, I was talking to some people in Tamar on Friday who've invested in those lovely sort of, princessy, queen-like mosquito nets over the bed, and they're loving the vibe of being inside there. Some of them feeling like a queen, sleeping at night. Others thinking it's a bit claustrophobic, but that can be quite good. But you don't want to be going out wearing those to one of a restaurant. That's a very strange. What is citronella? Citronella's the big one.
There is a spray from Decathlon that they sell here in Portugal, and I use it for work all the time.
Do you?
Really, yeah, and I have really sensitive skin as well. I have eczema, so I have to be careful. I have to be careful what I put on my skin. But the Decathlon spray works really well. Yeah.
Lee, Decathlon is the brand name of that, or
it's a sports store. It sells all sports equipment.
Okay. So their very own proprietary mosquito spray. Try out Decathlon. Often next door to Leroy Merlin. Lee, ensuring you need an internet disclaimer. Yeah, pretty much most shows he appears on, you have to do that, don't you? Especially on a Friday night. A bag of water acts like a disco ball effect on the rise, which repels them. Look, this is becoming quite a nice night out for a fly, isn't it? Hairspray on, then down the disco and strike a pose in front of your bags of water in front of your house there. Tom S., how do you control tomato worms? It's all about the tomatoes tonight. My understanding is you plant the tomatoes on the moon, the tomato worms will be there in 2 weeks. Now, literally, he doesn't mean on the moon. I think Tom means when the moon is full, right? And John's got something to add to this, possibly. Go on, John.
Not this. I'm a bit slow, but I'm just saying that other brands of mosquito repellent are available. That we probably should say.
Yes, indeed.
I've tried quite a few brands of mosquito repellent, working outside all day, every day in Portugal.
Yeah, sure.
I've gone through them all, and the only one that I would personally recommend is the Decathlon one. It works really well. It's my sensitive skin.
Decathlon,
that's cool.
If Decathlon are tuned in tonight, maybe you could send a box of those to Mr. McGrady, same postal address as before.
That's what they should do. Sponsored.
Okay, Lee, head gardener McGrady. I didn't know about tomato worms. I've never heard of tomato worms. Tell us more about that and how to deal with them.
I can show you because mine are suffering this year with them.
Okay.
It's a small. It's a maggot really. It's not really a worm. And when your tomato is too heavy and it starts to touch the floor, somehow they find their way in, and to any sort of damaged spot of the tomato. And they do the damage. They eat through the spud, eat through the tomato. I throw maybe 15, 16 up this year away. So it's no big problem, really. It's more to do with housekeeping. It's more to do with lifting the plant off the floor and getting them risen off the ground.
Okay.
So it's only really when they're making contact with soil or a wall or another tomato plant and they're all falling in themselves. Really, it's just a case of keeping your tomato plants separate and then framing them to keep them all off the ground, which I haven't done this year, so I'm suffering.
Okay. And you don't think it's too much to do with the planting cycle or when you plant them?
Oh no, it's purely housekeeping. It's keeping that good airflow through the plant and allowing the tomato space away from the ground to develop.
All right, there you go.
So
Thomas.
and they should be fine. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, very good. And yeah, I suppose that they're not the only fruit that likes to be off the ground in that way. Antonio, I don't know if you saw earlier on, we proudly shared your pictures of your mother-in-law's quinta. So watch the replay on that, and it'd be lovely if you're able to show her yourself that we featured her quinta on the Happy Homesteader show with Expats Portugal here, and maybe a photo of her if she's up for that in that setting would be wonderful. So Antonio, we did it earlier on, and I'm so grateful to you for those pictures. They really, to me, summed up what a lot of Portuguese gardens look like. So many thanks for thinking of us like that. There is the link to the group that is the backbone of this show, really, for you, Casey, if you want to join us there. Carl, those vegetables come from Trás-os-Montes. Okay, so the pictures that we showed, so perhaps you did say that, are a quinta up in Trás-os-Montes, up in the north of Portugal. How fantastic. And they probably are some of the most canny and skilled growers up there because they've got a more difficult climate to play with, wouldn't you say, Lee?
I think I would prefer to be up in the north. I think the weather up there suits my style of gardening better.
Right.
And they do get a good frost up there. They get a lot more rain than we get down here. And the ground, just the soil's better in the north. It just is. The soil's just better up there.
Interesting.
It's a beautiful part of the world. The further north you get, Portugal, the more. Same as England. The further north of England you get, the better it gets. It's the same here in Portugal.
Get out of here. Your theory was pretty good.
I meant more Scotland and the border countries and up to the top, where you get really weather. But Portugal's very similar.
Yeah, there you go. The north-south thing. You're never far away from that. To control mosquitoes, get a ceiling fan. We're getting some good tips tonight. Mosquitoes are weak flyers, and the wind from the fan will knock them down, especially at the highest speeds, right? Good fun there of an evening. Mosquitoes love me. Well, there's another method you could use is take Karen out with you when you go out, and then they'll eat her instead of you. I spritzed myself with lavender essential oil, and it worked even in Mexico. So lavender and citron as well. Go on, Lee.
Lavender is one of the plants that come in my recommendations for deterring the mozzies. But another one is garlic in your diet as well. If you eat a lot of garlic, especially raw garlic, gets into your bloodstream. It changes the odour of your body. Come here and say hello to everybody. If you eat a lot of garlic, it gets into your bloodstream and it really does deter them.
Hey,
say hello to everybody.
Hello.
Hello. How are you? Tudo bem?
Boa tarde.
Boa tarde. Tudo bem?
Foi para a piscina.
Okay, go.
Muito prazer. Ciao, ciao. Oh, fantastic. Brilliant. A new star is born on the Happy Homesteading show. Get out and grow.
It's not the first time she's been online, though, is it, Carl? She starts to turn up occasionally.
Yeah, absolutely. She's beginning to like it, I think. Okay, so even that works in Mexico, which sounds like a very tough environment in which to face mosquitoes there. Tom S. Louise agrees with you. Fans detract mozzies and small bitey flies, the little bitey fellas. Modern fans are almost silent too. That's good to know, isn't it? People in Trás-os-Montes, going back to that comment, say it's 9 months of, what is that? 9 months of hell plus 3 months of hell. Sorry, no, 9 months. Sorry, no, 9 months of winter and then 3 months of hell due to the extreme temperatures for us. That's brilliant. I love that. And that is a classically sort of northern, there's something about the northern mindset, isn't there? The hardiness and the
9 months of hell. Yeah, it really helps soil as well. Those really cold mornings, those frosty mornings, it helps to cleanse the soil. It helps to kill bugs. Helps get rid of disease. It gets rid of the old and the weak plants. So having that combination of really cold days and really hot days, it thins out the herd, and you're only left with the good stuff.
Darwinian.
So really well
there you go.
As a agent for your garden. Yeah.
All right, my mistake there. I was mistaking inverno with inferno, so sorry about that, but that's so brilliant. And Shirley's here as well tonight. Looks fit and well. Does your kid there? Probably because of the homegrown veg, right? I think that's probably true. She's extremely well and summery and in a condition of great root health there, which all kids should be. Not surprising that mosquitoes don't like. Go on, John. You can. I'm not going to read your comments out. You can make them yourself.
Not surprising that mosquitoes don't like garlic, because they are vampire-like in some ways.
True, and of course you will avoid vampires too if you eat a lot of raw garlic. I don't know if mosquitoes don't like a crucifix as well, or like seeing themselves in the mirror or not, or can't see themselves in the mirror. Perhaps that's probably a good test. Get your mosquito in front of a mirror, see if it disappears. Fiona, yes, she's appeared late as ever. We'll watch properly when you finish. Love to all. So there you go. Lots of fans for your child there, Lee. Fantastic pictures from Louise then. These are lovely, absolutely lovely, and a video from Anna, and we are going to play that the age-old game of is it a toad or is it a frog, and you'll see that in just a moment. So pickies first. Where are we? The passiflora there. That's a beautiful photo, isn't it, of the passion flower, and love the fruit as well. Absolutely love the fruit. Couple more to show for you from that particular garden too. What have we got here? We have got a lovely tomato bush with, look at that. Now, would you call that companion planting, strictly speaking, or is it just a nice idea to plant the things you're going to eat together? Basil in the front, tomatoes at the back.
That's good. That just makes good sense, doesn't it? Look at the height of the tomato with the basil underneath it. It uses that space that we talked last week, where you're left with an understory with empty soil. Basil's fantastic for it. Yeah, really nice.
That basil looks very healthy.
Yeah, just what we talked about last week. It's perfect. Yeah,
super. Well, a nice looking tomato crop there as well. And look, that's not. Is that bacalhau water in there? It looks a little bit too brown, possibly, to be bacalhau water. Depends on your. Maybe it's wholemeal bacalhau or something like that. Louise, tell us what you're doing there. That's hung from your olive tree in that particular situation there. Fantastic. Thank you so much for the pickies. And back to a few more comments there. Fiona learned a new trick for mozzie bites. Oh, here we go. Hold a slice of raw potato on the bite for a couple of minutes. Totally kills the itch. Works for flea bites too, if you've got that problem. And then you just chuck it in the pot, boil it up and have it for dinner. How about that? I think that maybe watch it first. Very nice garden, says Shirley. With a compliment there to you, Louise. Sorry, any other questions, Anna? Anything else come in?
Not that I've seen so far. I've been keeping an eye on the chat and everything, and nothing new as yet, as far as I can see.
All right, fair enough. Remember where to send them, folks. Antonio from Tom S. They should try an Ohio winter. They'll never complain about Portuguese weather again. How cold does it go, Tom, in Ohio over there? Head gardener, what should we be doing this time of year?
Right. Well, it's a good time of year for work. That's for sure. We've got those in Portugal. We've got those nighttime temperatures are now changing, so it's time to be looking out for the bigger pests like the rats and mice that are now going to come into your gardens. Oh. That's the big thing over here this time of year. And funguses on your lawns. That's another big problem this time of year. All the funguses start to develop now. You need to be starting treating your orange trees and lemon trees. They're going to suffer with fungus. This next week, the week after, that's going to be an issue for everybody. So it's the humidity at night changes coming into the end of August, start of September. So you really need to be on the board for that, because it kills everything. It affects everything. You're getting your last crops in from your summer veg, and starting your winter veg crops you should be preparing for them now with the seedlings and getting them into your greenhouse or into your growing frame. Over in England, you should be dethatching your lawn, prepping that, getting your edges cut back, ready for the weather changing. Any low-growing branches should be getting trimmed this time of year as well in England. Lots to be doing. It's all in England. It's all tidying up. In Portugal, it's all preparing. So it's a nice time of year to be out. There's always something to be done. Oh, the other thing with Portugal is we've got a lot of weeds coming through this time of year as well. This is as we get into September, is traditionally their weed month started. And if you can get on it now, it'll save you a lot of work in October, November.
Yeah.
So I'm doing.
Very good. Thank you very much indeed. I've got a very quick question. Has anybody got one of these on their homestead? The off the grid toilet that turns your waste into clean cooking gas. Now, I'm really fascinated by this. I don't think you've got one of these, have you, Lee? That thing here over on the right side.
No one in Scotland that has one.
And is it any good?
Yeah, he loves it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I got a bit of advice from him a few years ago. I did from my cottage in Scotland, I added it into the local, into my pond at the end of my garden. I moved my toilet from the mains into the pond. I got some advice off him, and he was already doing this, and that was 15 years ago.
So he knows what he's doing.
I'm still in touch with him, and he's still off the grid living, and he still produces his own gas with it. Yeah,
that's amazing.
He loves it. Yeah,
people have been doing this around the world for centuries, haven't they? Knowing how to do this.
Yeah, it's really not new science.
No,
but I think getting the balance. In the past, it used to be difficult to get the balance right. I think now with the new machines that are coming in, and new filters and new extraction systems, you can pretty much put anything in it, from your garden waste to your toilet waste. It is for new builds. It should be the future. It really should be. Absolutely. Anyone building a new build, or anyone building that in the open where they've got a bit of space to spare, it should be really considered. It's a short. You're outlaying a lot of money to start with, but the savings over the 10 or 15 years, it's going to be reliable for way out pay the cost of setting it up. Yeah. Definitely.
Great. I would like to get somebody from this firm to come and talk to us, or somebody who's using it to come to talk to us. And see you, John. Take care, mate. John has to go at 7 o'clock. Thank you very much for being with us.
Bye. See you.
See you later, buddy. All the gas goes in this bladder that you see on the right there, so you don't have to sink it in the ground or anything like that, and you can put all your household waste in that funnel at the front, as well as it being connected to your waste disposal system, your human waste disposal system. So how about that? More talk, I hope, on that sort of thing. We've got some questions, right, Anna? Some late ones coming, have they?
Yeah, we've got one in from Jason that's come in. Is it possible to winter my chili plants to get the crop out of them next year? And Fiona has come in with a question as well.
Okay, so what was Jason's one again?
I overwintered my chili plants here, Jason. They didn't do as well as the previous year, but they did okay.
Okay.
The first year they were phenomenal. I overwintered them. I didn't even cover them up. They just got moved into a different bed, but I knew there was a bit of shelter for them, and they did okay. They survived. But we did actually bring one from England. We had to brought one from England. They did better here in its second year than it did in England in its first year. So I think it all depends on the care that you give it and how much you're prepared to look after it. I obviously didn't. I just moved it from a well cared for pot into a bit of waste ground we had, and it still produced.
Okay, better than nothing, obviously. Fiona says, two things have cropped up with my thinking.
I'm also blaming Jason for my hangover on Saturday morning, so it's your fault, Jason.
Okay, so Wonder is still talking to you. Two things that have cropped up with my thinking, says Fiona. How would planting antifungal herbs under your fruit trees go? And I've forgotten the second thing. So only one question as it turns out. Antifungal herbs under the fruit tree, would that help with this citrus problem?
I don't think it does, because I don't know if people know this. I don't want to sound like I'm overcomplicated things, but flies fly at different heights. Carrot flies fly very low. Citrus flies fly very high. And if you're going to get them, you're going to get them at the top of the tree. They always appear at the very top of the tree. When you're looking for infections or invasions of insects into your citrus fruit, they always seem to appear at the crown first and work their way down. The same with, if you lift your carrots off the floor in England, if you can lift your carrots up just by 2 foot or 3 foot, it stops carrot fly, because carrot fly don't fly high. It's very strange. That's exactly how it works. Yeah.
All right. Okay, we've got an answer on this. With that, it's sugar water in the olive tree with yellow food coloring like the olive flower, but goes darker with age. Oh, so they're attracted to it because it looks like an olive flower, and that will lure them to a grisly end there. Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Louise. Last few questions, and let's squeeze them in. We're going a little bit over time tonight. Yes, regarding the Ohio winter, yeah, that's what Antonio said to us about the winter here in Portugal. And Tom's saying highs in January of -2 are common over there. Wow.
Great, doesn't it? That sounds fantastic.
Sounds like Manchester to me. I remember flying into the airport in Cleveland one January night and the jetway froze. Oh my goodness, scary stuff there. This time of pandemic, we are more involved in our own garden. And that's been a silver lining to this terrible global cloud, isn't it? I think more people have taken up growing and spending more time at home. So how good is that? Hi team, says Simon, I think. When's the best time to pull your spuds? Before or after the foliage dies back? Nice quick one there for you, Lee.
Well, when the flowers, I always do mine. When the flowers die back and the outer leaves start to die off, that's when I start. So look for the flowers going. As soon as the flowers have gone, the outer leaves will start to go. Then pull them.
Great.
But I'm from north of England, and we get a lot of potato blight. So to avoid any blight, I pull mine. Not early, but kind of earlier than most. A lot of people down south, the whole plant has gone.
Okay.
We don't have that grace in the north of England, so I pull mine, and always have and still do here straight away. As soon as the plant starts to die off, get them out.
All right, there you go. Blessings. God bless everyone from Shirley. Thank you for that, Shirley. Very kind. And we'll extend that to everyone's gardens as well. We have a composting glue in the truck, but not a methane producer, which is probably quite nice in such tight conditions. Don't smoke while sitting on the toilet, says Martin. Thank you for that, Martin Chelfs. You would know, you'd probably know about it, wouldn't you? Or if your neighbor did it. I'm thinking oregano thyme or oregano for companion planting under susceptible trees. So perhaps not. The solids go on the compost once a month, and the liquids. Oh, this is not that system I showed you, but this is the Casa Hall's own approach to this. Solids on the compost once a month, and liquids daily to get the nitrate levels up and speed up the composting process. So that's why some people pee on a straw bale, innit, and then chuck it in or mulch with it. Have to go and peel off those beans you saw in the pics. See you later. Cheers, Antonio. Thank you for all your help and pictures and input. That looks brill. I hope it has a leak detector valve. If you have a cigarette on, you could get a flash in a bag. A lot of people concerned about the blowback there and it turning into a Bruce Willis movie. I wonder, Die Hard at the Homestead, where he ends up in a great big explosion of the methane digester that he has to sort out to save the world. It could happen, couldn't it, quite soon, I think, the way things are going and the increasing interest in homesteading. Head Gardener, you've been amazing. Anna, you've been amazing. Everybody who's tuned in tonight, you've been amazing. Have a great evening, and we'll see you again soon. Keep those questions coming in. We'd love to answer them for you. Ciao, ciao, and bye for now. Give it up.